Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. Pretty exciting. We got some new stuff revealed for set 10 actually. So we've seen all the stuff for expansion 11 and 12, the first iterations of Unison cards, and they seem pretty strong. I think the Vegeta, I think the Gotenks are pretty strong. They do a lot of things for pretty low cost, but obviously that changes with markers and whatnot. But we've got some of the first Unison cards being revealed in set 10. And it's really interesting. You know, one of the things I want to talk about in this video, see if it's really true or not, in the design notes, which are pretty long. I usually do go over them, but I won't go over them in today's video. They're really long. But anyways, one of the things they mentioned there is that these Unison cards are partially meant to help older archetypes, and of course they'll synergize well with stuff in set 10, but they're mentioned that they're kind of like a pair to your leader, a partner to your leader, that is meant to just bolster your leader. So we'll see if we can figure out ways that these cards do bolster older strategies as we go through them. Definitely let me know in the comments below how you think any of these Unison cards can help any of like the older rogue strategies. Like they mentioned in the patch notes that the designer notes rather, that this Unison Vegito is meant to go with the Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, or maybe not meant to go with, but it can be paired with it. That's really one of the things they want to drive home here, is that the Unison cards can go with any leader in their respective colors, and it's meant to be used in that kind of fashion. So enough rambling, guys. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. If you guys want to help support the channel in these trying times, there are many free ways to do so. You can like the video, you can share the video, maybe watch or click on an ad. And guys, if you want to pre-order in the cards you see in today's video, you can always use my link in the description below to either TCG Player or Bearded Collectibles. With that being said, I set the premise. I want to know if any of these cards do help older leaders. We'll get through it. So Super Saiyan Broly Legendary Unison, it is an X cost 2 specified, and well, I guess we'll talk about that later. But anyways, the 2 specified yellow, activate main ±0. So this is basically just a free effect. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, switch to rest mode. So one of the things that's really funny to me is, like, you know, a lot of the time people complain there are so many effects that ignore barrier, and it is true to a degree, but it's so funny how ignoring barrier and switching to rest mode is such a fair, sometimes very underwhelming skill that it justifies a ±0 marker. That's pretty funny to me, but that can be useful. I mean, actually what's pretty funny is you can tap like the Invoker Vegeta, and sometimes attacking it, if your battle card is big enough, that either demands an answer or the Vegeta will just die. And if you attack with your leader and combo a certain amount into it, you know they can't really combo out of that. So that's kind of a little interesting note. But anyways, the activate main for the -1 marker, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, the energy cost of 5 or less in rest mode, and KO it. Very fair card. It doesn't do anything so over the top in my opinion. And you know, there are certain cards that, like, when you tap at a card, draw a card. There's a 2-drop Bardock, I think it's called Bardock the Enlightened, where with this card ±0 you can tap a battle card. There's no way to give this thing additional markers though, so I guess once you do drop it, unless you have like another copy of it in your hand where you can use the mechanic to put it underneath, you're gonna basically use it up and then it's gonna go away. This is a really weird one, but it is an uncommon, so nothing crazy. One thing that's kind of interesting to me is that the Unison cards don't have like a saga or a character trait. That's pretty interesting. So I guess, like, if something said look at the top 5 and add a Broly, or I guess if you had the green Broly 1 drop from like set 1 or 2, if you were playing that, could you search this? I guess not, because this doesn't have a character name. So that's actually a pretty interesting thing I just noticed. Anyways, Vegito Unison of Might, this is a 4 cost minimum Unison card, 4 specified red, X cost. All right, so +1 marker. It is 20k actually, by the way. I did mention in a previous video that I was hoping they would keep them at 15k power, because if these things are going to practically be leaders, you kind of want to balance their power. But if you're making it a 4 cost minimum, then yeah, 20k is definitely justifiable. So +1 marker, activate main, draw 1 card, then choose up to 1 mono red battle card with energy cost of 2 or less in your hand and play it. So this is the weird part. This is basically a consistent draw engine once you drop the Vegito, but it's pretty late in the game. It's by turn 4. Now this, I would say if this was like a 2 cost Vegito with 15k power, it would be much more splashable in older strategies, especially like mono red strategies, because you'd be able to get the consistent draw engine early. Let's look at like set 2 Vegito that has no draw power on the front side, or just any red leader that's pretty old, like Majin Vegeta, for example. Just, I'm thinking of random red leaders that don't have their own draw power. This would be really cool as a companion to those cards, because it would be a consistent draw engine, but it's a 4 cost, so it's kind of late in the game to be a consistent draw engine. Let's look at the rest of the skills. -2 markers, activate main until the end of your opponent's next turn. If your opponent would play a battle card using a skill, it's placed in the owner's drop area instead. Okay, this is a very powerful effect. If you're going to play Demigra, if you're going to play Boo, if you're going to play anything that uses effects to spam multiple cards, this is going to prevent that. That's pretty cool. I wonder if it probably does, like successors probably also hits, which is pretty interesting. So that's pretty cool. Again, for 4 energy though, this is pretty fair, so I think that's pretty good. The -5 ability, activate main if your opponent doesn't have any battle cards in play, deal 1 damage to your opponent. That's a really late game win condition. That's definitely not busted. It's definitely not as busted in my opinion as Catastrophic Blow. Pretty fair in that regard, if I would say so. Good card. I like the card. It's a little bit late to be a draw engine though. So we have a leader now, Ferocious Strike, Super Saiyan Son Goku. We only see the Awakened side here. The Unawakened side is actually really important, and I'll talk about why in a minute. Auto Burst 3 when this card attacks, draw 1, so you're really turboing through your deck here. Activate main / battle once per turn. Place 2 cards from your life in your drop area. Choose all of your opponent's battle cards and your battle cards, ignoring barrier. Place them in the owner's drop area. So a couple important things to note here. This does not affect Unison cards. Obviously, we've learned that if something specifies battle cards, that it does not specify Unison cards are different. And the ability here to place 2 life in the drop area, that can be really good or really terrible. Let me tell you why. So we saw the leaders in the expansion set. They have specific terms that say if you control the correct Unison card, you can awaken at 6 or less life. Or actually, I think it's awaken period and then take life until you have 6 or less. So if this has a similar awakening condition, and if you can awaken at 6 life, that's going to make a whole lot of difference, because that means you can use the activate main / battle effect much more efficiently. You don't really want to put yourself to 2 life with this unless you're going for game, but if you're going to put yourself from like 6 to 4, it's a lot more safe in that regard. So really cool leader. I really wonder what the backside does, but I guess they didn't want to show us for some reason. Super Saiyan Bardock, Paternal Unison, 2 specified Unison card, green. When your opponent combos, you may place up to 1 card from their combo area in the drop area. If you do, negate the skill for the turn. This is very powerful. This is going to be very good with like Broly Surge. Probably going to be good with the leader we just saw, depending on what it does. And another really cool thing I saw is going to be good with WMAT Goku, and we'll see why in just a second. Activate main, you may choose one of your green battle cards with an energy cost of 1 and KO it. If you do, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and discards it. So yeah, you play the 1-drop Goku. It's a green 1-drop Goku. I can't think of the name, but if your leader is a WMAT card and you play it, your opponent discards a card, then you can use this guy's effect, get a marker, and then make them discard another card. That's pretty high value there. -3 markers, activate main. This card gets plus 5,000 power and triple attack for the turn. Okay, swinging 3 times for 20k. Pretty good. I'm a big fan of this one. This is, again, going to be getting in Broly Surge, and this could maybe breathe life into that WMAT Goku, maybe, because WMAT Goku does have its own consistent draw engine through the leader. Super Saiyan Gotenks, Display of Mastery. Auto when this card attacks, draw 1 card. Again, this is only the awakened side. Auto once per turn when your opponent activates an extra card, draw 1 card, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. Okay, this card is pretty cool. Like, think about Invoker. They use tons and tons of extra cards, but choosing a battle card and switching it to rest mode, pretty lackluster, especially against Invoker, where they're pretty much going to have the barrier Vegeta on the board and not much else. But I guess getting the free draw is always good. Auto once per turn when you activate Union Fusion, this card gets plus 5,000 power and critical for the turn. Okay, so when you activate Union Fusion, the thing that's going to scream out to you is Gogeta 7. I mean, of course, I'm sure they're going to print some new Union Fusion support in this set, so we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for what that does. But anyways, interesting leader. Again, I think it depends on what the unawakened side does. Super Saiyan Gogeta, Dynamic Unison, specified 2 yellow, permanent. If all your energy is in rest mode, your mono yellow leader card gets plus 5,000 power during your opponent's turn. That's pretty cool. So like if your opponent's playing the energy tapping stuff, like a lot of people are kind of scared of in Draft Box 5, you get a free Senzu Bean. That's pretty dope. Auto once per turn when your opponent activates an extra card, add a marker to this card. So more kind of hate against Invoker, if you will. Activate main, you may choose 2 yellow cards in your hand and discard them. If you do, draw 2 cards. That's some pretty good draw power right there. This card's already seeming very strong. Activate main -4 during your opponent's next charge phase. Your opponent can only switch 2 energy to active mode. Okay, this card's very powerful. I wonder if this is ever answered. Let me know in the comments below if it was. But if you like have 4 markers on your Unison card, then you use the -4 effect, does the effect fizzle, or does it still apply if it's like a lingering effect? I do want to know that. But whether or not that's the case, that's a very powerful effect. You can really stop your opponent's entire turn if you say, hey, you can only untap 2 energy, and games are going very long, so there can definitely be a situation in which this is able to resolve. Yamcha, Supersonic Striker, once again, only the awakened side. Auto, when this card attacks, look up to 2 cards from top of your deck, add up to 1 red card among them to your hand, then place any remaining cards in your drop area, and this card gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. So kind of like a Scrambling Assault Sun Goten on a leader. Pretty strong seeming. I mean, it's only the awakened side. Again, we don't know what the unawakened side does. Auto, if you have a red Unison card in play, when your opponent takes damage from non-keyword skills on your battle cards or Unison cards, deal 1 damage to your opponent, then negate this skill for the game. So another way to deal a burn damage. Vegeta Elite Unison, 2 specified red. Auto, when this card attacks, add a marker to it, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets a minus 5,000 power for the turn. So you definitely want to be aggressive with this card because you get the markers when you attack. So this is basically a red aggro Unison card, I would say. Activate main, -1 marker, choose 1 of your red battle cards or leader cards, gets plus 5,000 power, and can attack your opponent's battle cards in active mode for the turn. This is actually a very useful Unison card. I like this a lot. You know, think about any of the leaders that attack or any of the battle cards that attack and deal damage to the opponent when you kill a battle card. This is really, really good. I think this is a really good card. Fuse Zamasu, Divine Ruin Bringer. Auto, when this card attacks, draw 1, activate main once per turn, place 1 of your energy in its owner's drop area, choose 1, this card gains dual attack for the turn, or you can choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards and place it at the bottom of the owner's deck. So it seems like we're going to get new Zamasu support in this set, which, you know, has kind of like a cult following, and it gives you another leader to play that doesn't necessarily rely on the ramping your opponent win con, which was kind of proven to be rather weak. But the Unison card that goes with it is pretty interesting. Zeno Cosmic Unison, 2 specified, 9k power, so pretty weak. Activate main if your leader card is a mono blue card. Place the top card of your deck in your energy. You can't place cards in your energy area for the turn. Then at the end of the turn, place the card you place in your energy with the skill in the owner's drop area. So this gives you additional energy, so you can obviously make better plays early on. And +2 markers is quite a lot of markers. So besides that, it gives you free fodder for your leader's awaken ability, because you can add an energy with this guy, then kill the same energy that you brought on with Zeno, and then you don't have to kill that energy at the end of the turn. Activate main, -5 markers, choose all cards in all battle areas, ignoring barrier, shuffle them into the owner's decks. So reminiscent of Chain Attack Zeno for 5 markers, but I mean, think about it. If you pay 2 for this, then you give +2 markers. That's 4 markers already. How many times can your opponent attack it to get rid of markers? Maybe a few times, but you can always pay more energy for this. You can always give it +2, and then the -5 seems pretty feasible, to be honest. Maybe once per game. That does seem pretty strong. But yeah, I think a few of these cards definitely help out. Like this card, for example, probably helps out the Goku Black strategy, the set 2 Goku Black strategy. So I think it is true that these will help older strategies. I kind of wish that Vegito was a 2 cost 15, maybe with some like dumber down effects. But anyways, seems really interesting. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time.